Wilson Morales from Black Community TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
How are you,
Hey,
man?
how are you?
Good. Each of you have obviously have had your fair share of films and TV. You know, everybody loves Taylor Sheridan. So, but besides his name, what went into saying yes to taking on these roles? James?
Oh, this job is one of those special life experiences. This is an opportunity to go and work with a couple of legends of the business and to be out in Montana, ride horses, and also the material I think is very poignant, and it's risky and it's leaning forward. So it's just a cool time.
Yeah.
Hang out with some cool people.
I was also I've always been really drawn to the 1920s. That time period has always been really fascinating to me, and kind of seductive that, so much was going on. There was with innovation and electricity and the motor car and flappers and the roaring 20s and then politically and the market crashing soon after, and I think it was the Spanish flu, or Spanish flu. So they had their own pandemics, and then to take that and transpose it to the West, which adds a whole other element. I've always wanted to be in a Western, and I've loved the 20s. So those two elements were also really attractive to me as an actor.
You're playing obviously the Duttons, so have you had a chance to go back, if not, or start watching, whether it's Yellowstone or 1883, just to get an idea as to what you're walking into? Because as fans will see you on the street, they're going to start talking. You can't play and say you don't know because you don't watch the show. So have you had a chance to watch those prior to that?
I'm just gonna jump in here, and I'm gonna be really honest with you. I don't watch things. I like to not watch other things. And halfway through, I started watching 1883, and I realized I made so many mistakes. I was like, oh, I should have watched this before we shot.
You never told me that. That's amazing. Yeah. I powered through. I binged watched 1883 immediately.
It's so good.
Just because our story literally picks up with, it's 40 years later, but it's that through line. So, just to see what Ben Richardson and Taylor Sheridan were up to with that show, and what they were creating and what they wanted to continue on, and get a sense of their style as filmmakers too.
Now you're working opposite Helen and Harris, two greats, and you guys have had your share of films and projects, but, do you ever stop? Are you still learning, as far as actors, whether you're working and learning from Taylor or you're working with Helen and Harrison, who obviously have put in their time, in different spectrums of this industry?
Constantly learning, constantly. When you stop learning, it's game over, I think. Yeah. And to have these two, which was like literally like a masterclass in acting and being human, because they're just so brilliant at both. We could, we're going to wax eloquence about this all day, and I don't care.
Yeah, I know. But it's that thing. Like you constantly have to stay curious. If you stop asking questions, if you stop listening, if you stop paying attention, you're dead in the water as an actor. And
they don't.
They're curious people, and it's really it's inspiring. It's inspiring to see.
I'm a fan of all the series. Obviously, as you guys are Duttons, I know you're going to continue to be on. Let's hope you can talk season 2. Keep it going. Wherever you're at, stay safe.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you.
Wilson Morales from Black Community TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Hey, Wilson. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys. Now you're part of the Yellowstone family. Obviously, when you play Dutton, the first thing I said is he ain't going to die so soon. So what goes into saying yes to taking on a project like this?
It's an immediate yes, I think, when you get to be a part of something this special. For me,
it doesn't take too much. I was chasing Taylor down to get into this world, so he knew my answer. It's definitely a yes.
So I've only seen one episode, but what more can you say about the characters you're playing, Darren?
Yeah, I think it ain't gonna be a dull moment, that's for sure. When you're following Jack, he's gonna, I think he'll excite you in many ways. You're gonna have some fun action. There's gonna be great love and romance, even some comedic moments for his lack of awareness for certain things, especially to do with ladies, as we learn in the first episode. So I think it's gonna be a fun ride for people to follow along with.
Now, did you have to play catch up when you got on the show? Like, did you go back and watch 1893, the Yellowstone series, or you just kind of walk in there and just, worry about, this particular series and your lines? Michelle?
I had seen 1883. I had not seen Yellowstone yet, despite my dad telling me every single day of my life to watch it. Sometimes it's nice to not listen to your parents, but I regret it now. I loved 1883. So I was really excited when I got the audition for 1923, because I was already planning on watching 1923, and then getting the audition was like a whole different experience.
What about you, Darren?
I watched all of Yellowstone when I got an audition for 1883, and then that one didn't quite go my way. But when this one came around, I watched 1883 to get ready for this one.
When you're working with this cast right here, and obviously you're working with Harrison and Helen, two greats out there, and you're working with Taylor, what are you picking up, from them as you're working with them that helps you out as actors? Michelle?
I think, sorry.
That's okay. I mean, everything, to be honest. The way they handle themselves on and off set, how gracious they are and kind, and just watching them, like sometimes we were saying when we're not always like the main part of the scene and we're in something with them, just watching them and their process is really cool.
Yeah,
And
watching the way they conduct themselves at work has been really cool to me. They're both so great, and they're so different, but they're so awesome in their own way. It's really neat. They're good people.
And it's a big ensemble. So, like, is there a time period when everybody gets together to know each other, even though some of you don't have scenes with everybody?
We had cowboy camp at the beginning, which was the best way to start a job. We had 2 weeks of riding horses, and did we shoot some guns? Yeah, we did shoot guns. We shot guns, rode horses, hung out every day. I think when you suffer through something together with how sore we all were by the end of that first week, that it brought our bond that much closer as a cast. So I think it's just such a cool way to get to start a job.
Cowboy camp was the time of my life. It was so fun.
Yeah,
And
I really hope we do it again next year.
Yeah, me too.
Well, the show's going to take off. No doubt about it. Congratulations on the roles. I'm sure we'll talk, hopefully, season 2. Let's make it happen. Stay safe. Take care of yourselves.
Nice meeting you. Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
Take care. Host Morales from Black Women TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Hey, Wilson.
Hey. So it's always good to see a new spinoff of the Yellowstone franchise, because I'm such a fan. So, Jennifer, you've been working a long time, different shows, different series. I just recently talked to you for your movie. So what went into saying yes to taking on the role of Sister Mary?
Oh my goodness. Well, the way that Taylor Sheridan writes characters, the way he weaves them together in story, it's so compelling. And I was very excited to be a part of this.
And you, Aminah?
Sorry, repeat the question.
The question is, what went into saying yes to taking on a role like this?
Sorry, I didn't hear you again.
What went on to taking on this role?
Oh man, I mean, this has just been incredible. Taylor's writing is it's just like you said, Taylor's writing is insane. And the way that he does write, it's one and done, and you could feel that throughout every single script that he hands over to you. It's not overthought. It's just truth. It's immediate. Tiona is a part of the residential schools where many indigenous, tribes have attended. She's actually Crow, and yeah.
And for you, Jennifer, you're playing a part of a nun, and obviously from what we see in the first episode, I'm sure there are people who've gone to Catholic school like myself that have similarities into what goes on there at times. I remember at my time at school, I remember everybody was afraid of the ruler, but in your instance, of a ruler here, this is a different take, being it's the time period. So when you think of the role you're taking, do you do any sort of deep dive in terms of that time period? If anything similar to, is that authentic in terms of how the nuns were portrayed during that time period?
It is my understanding that it is pretty authentic. I think these residential schools are known to have been extremely abusive. And yes, I think it's pretty accurate.
Mhm. So for each one of you, did you have to go back and watch 1893 or Yellowstone just to get an idea what everybody's fascinated about, knowing that you have a built-in audience ready to see this series?
I watched 1883 while we were filming because I
Same.
never watched Yellowstone, and everyone was raving. The whole cast was like, "You gotta watch 1883. You gotta watch it." So halfway, I binged it, and it was incredible. Like,
Yeah, it's really good.
I find it funny that everybody says, "Oh, I haven't watched Yellowstone yet," but these series is based on the success of the one show, which is great.
But they really are. I mean, that's part of the brilliance of Taylor Sheridan. I mean, they each stand alone, but yet they're just woven. They're woven together, but they also are self-sufficient, extraordinary stories.
And totally different from each other. Well, it's been fun talking to you. Obviously, we have a lot more episodes to see. Take care of yourselves wherever you're at, and hopefully we'll talk season 2.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Vince.
Wilson Morales from Black Film TV. Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Hey man, good to see you. Good.
I-
Going great.
Between films and TV, you always stay working.
Yes, sir. I've been very fortunate.
So what goes into saying yes to taking on a project like this?
Just honestly wanting to work with Taylor, and then the script. The script was great, and then Harrison and Helen were the people attached, and it was a different part than I had just done. This was a good guy, and I thought I've been killing everybody, so I might as well start trying to save people.
Considering you're not one of the Duttons, what can you say about the character you play?
I could say that I'd say like a lot of people had told me that he's like a Rip Wheeler from Yellowstone, where he's the foreman. He's very loyal to Jacob Dutton and his family because Jacob in the past has helped Zane out and really helped him have a good life. And so he's there, and he's like the when you call someone a cousin, but they're not really your cousin. That's what he is. He's like their unofficial family member.
When you joined the project, when you joined the series, actually, did you have to play catch up in watching Yellowstone in 1899, or did you just come in right in and not pay attention?
I watched 1893 because that was more, it was a closer to this. It was like the cousin of this show. So that was really helpful. But I had watched Yellowstone because I mentioned this earlier. I had worked with a lot of the people on Yellowstone, and a young actor that I really liked that I worked with over in Europe. It was a big part for him, so I wanted to see, because I was like, this kid's gonna do something, and his name's Jefferson White, right? And I thought, like, I want to watch it for him, and so I had watched it. But then when you get the job, you watch a little more closely. You start seeing things, see how they're riding horses, how they look, how much they're doing. So I'm fan of Taylor. So love Hell or High Water. It's a perfect movie in my opinion. Obviously Sicario. I love Wind River. I love Renner.
So having worked all these years, obviously in different projects, and then when you get on a series like this, it's something totally different from what you've done before. What are you picking up skill set that you probably haven't done in your other series? Obviously, as you mentioned, you're not playing a bad guy, but you're working with Harrison, you're working with Helen, you're working with Taylor. Is there anything you're still picking up as an actor?
Yes. And the day I'm not picking something up, I should probably leave this business. Yeah, I mean, obviously working with Harrison and Helen is totally it's like a clash, right? Because you see Harrison, he shows up, he's joking around, and when it's time to work, we just get to work, and he cares so much, but not to the point where it makes us rigid and not have fun. We have fun in between takes, and then it's go time. And same with Helen. She's just such a lovely woman. But then when it's time to roll sound, it's like she switches into Cara, and she's fierce. And I'm always watching them. I mean, I get to do some great scenes with both of them. So that's been just a joy. The Harrison Ford of it all takes about a month to start to get comfortable for me usually with when I work with, well, yeah, when I been fortunate enough to work with legends like him, usually takes a bit of time, try to give them their space, and you learn your lines extra good for those days, because there's always a little nerves. But then now he's obviously Harrison Ford, but now he's like my boss on the show, and he's probably my boss in life. And so yeah, just that kind of relationship just evolved, and I'm really lucky. Again, he's a very funny guy, as you'll hopefully get to see today.
Brian, it's been good talking to you. Keep up the good
You
work.
too. Thank you.
Keep working. I'm always here to support. Take care.
Okay, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it. Yeah.